Morning, Black family. Hayes here. We're going to listen to content that Lee Cabrera added to her timeline. I'm going to let her talk, and then I'm going to put my 2 cents in. It's about reparations.
America is not a racist country.
Ladies and gentlemen, the question is, will reparations take care of the racial wealth gap in America? Of course it will. Of course it will. That's why they're not giving reparations, because it will fill that gap, and they don't want that, So I'm going to go ahead and play this video from CBS Sunday morning.
At the White House ceremony, Juneteenth became our newest federal holiday. June 19, 1865, was the day enslaved people in Texas were the last to learn they'd been freed by President Lincoln. We thought it was the right time to explore the growing debate over reparations. Here's what we're doing.
The Stagville Plantation was once one of the largest plantations in North Carolina, 30,000 acres, with more than 900 enslaved people working the land. When you come to a place like this and you know that you have your own family, your own ancestors who lived under these conditions, what do you think?
I don't know that you're ever prepared for it fully.
Walking into the slave quarters can be an emotional experience.
Well, you read Rant. Didn't see that coming.
Even for those all too familiar with history.
I mean, it's just extraordinary to me. The kind of daily abuse, not having control of your life, not being able to control and educate and nurture your own children. I just can't imagine what that was like. So these are the people who initially were by the Richard Behan family.
A. Kirsten Mullen is a folklorist and arts consultant. Her husband, William Darity, is an economics professor at Duke University. They say when President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, ending slavery, those newly freed were left with nothing.
So former slaveholders were back in control of the properties that they previously held. And that meant that at a location like Stagville, the land was not distributed to the folks who had worked here.
The federal government famously promised those formerly enslaved.
Don't just choose a floor, choose a happy place for your toes. Waterproof.
Broken, as were many more to come. Mullen and Darity have become leading voices for the argument that, to this day, this country owes a debt to Black Americans.
So cut the check.
Reparations.
We've even argued that if the 40-acre land grants had been given, we wouldn't need to have a conversation today about reparations for Black American descendants of U.S. slavery.
For a lot of people, when they hear the debate about reparations, they think this was a long time ago.
So what?
Relation does it have, not only to my life, but to today's economy?
So slavery, in some ways, is the first affirmative action program for white people. Free labor. How about it?
As whites acquired wealth, blacks were repeatedly shut out, largely denied land by the Homestead Act of 1862, which gave settlers territory out west, then terrorized by Jim Crow. Later, discriminated against when it came to the GI Bill after World War II, or Social Security benefits, and by redlining and other practices which prevented home ownership.
Our case for reparations is anchored on the cumulative impact of racial injustice in the United States.
Right. And, some of these people are under the impression that it's slavery and that's it. No, it's all of the things that followed slavery, including things that are going on now, like your mass incarceration. And we see these high number of exonerated black men day in and day out in this country. It is the over policing of the black community. It is the racism that our children are facing in school every day. So no, it don't just start and end with chattel slavery. It goes way, way beyond that. So for you to think, oh well, you weren't a slave, you don't have to be a slave. All of the things that happened to black people after slavery. And in my opinion, if you're not going to treat us right, and you already determined you're not going to do any better than you already have for the black community, which is a bunch of nothing, then why are you taking our tax dollars?
We need to start holding our
Give us our
pockets.
tax dollars back.
That's right. Get it all
We
back.
can't get the same policing that white neighborhoods are getting, then you're not entitled to that money. Give back all of that taxpayer money that you've given us. You take our taxpayer money and give us the poorest education. You take our taxpayer money and we're getting killed by the cops that got protect and serve on the side of their car. Okay. And those of you that sit around and say, well, the police don't have to protect you. And I say to you, you don't have to take our taxpayer money. Give it back. Since you're not going to be fair, and all the advantages are going to the white communities, then give us our taxpayer money back. Give it back. You didn't earn it. You stole it at this point. You didn't earn a thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, the wealth gap is there. And in America, it's going to be a permanent wealth gap because we know these folks are always plotting and making sure that we are always last. Just know that this situation with the black community has been highly manipulated to be this way. This is not a natural phenomenon that's going on with us. It is a highly manipulated one where people are behind the scenes plotting against us for the last 500 years and manipulating everything so it's never fair. So when they try to talk to you as if you're causing this, it's the biggest lie they can sit around and tell. I guess Jim Crow was a natural phenomenon, huh? And the black codes and the slave codes, that was a and how about mass incarceration? That's a natural phenomenon. No, it isn't. That's why you got your police departments predominantly white, even in black areas.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not a natural phenomenon. It's a very manipulate. You have manipulated everything this entire time. Maybe some are fools. Yeah, because you do have many in our community talking about black people in crime. They go right along with you instead of looking at the whole legacy of everything that has happened. See, when people dive into that, black people are doing this and they're black themselves, I don't respect you. Because what you're doing is overlooking the entire history. That's what you're doing. That's what the majority of you are doing. And I don't respect that. And therefore, I have a problem with your opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think. The wealth gap is not going anywhere, and there's plenty of manipulation that will continue to go on. And plus, the politicians don't support the black community. It doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican. The only time they seem to want to address the black community is to tell you what they're not going to do for you and to ask you to vote for them. Just think about that. They tell you what they're not going to do for you and then turn around and tell you to continue to vote for them. Wow, if I could not ask for could just ask for one thing, I would pray some of these people would wake up and see politics are not for us. And they make sure they let you know, look, they got that Asian crime bill passed. But when it came down to qualified immunity, they just shrugged their shoulders and say, well, we tried. How come you didn't try for the Asians? You were able to accomplish that. But see, that is the usual pattern. They can accomplish for everybody except for us. And you know, you could turn that around if you would just teach these politicians a lesson. That's all it would take. When they need your vote, you go somewhere and sit down.
Mm-hmm. Hold your pockets.
They expect the Black community to always fend for ourselves. Let them fend for themselves when it comes down to your vote. Put them in that position. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.
Lisa made a very good point. Why are we even paying taxes to a government that doesn't give a fuck about us? Refuse to pay off a debt that is well owed. And frankly, we need to start saying FBA should be tax-free of anything, any property tax, any income tax, any luxury tax. Hell, you got enough hobby dobbies and Africoons and Caribicoons, and then you brought in refugees from Vietnam in the early 70s, winding down the Vietnam War. Now you're flooding my county with 4,000 Afghan people that you practically just kidnapped from their country, and you're bringing them over here, and you're putting them up in Airbnbs and shit, while real citizens of this country are being evicted. That don't sit right with me. These people are given money, IDs, transportation. If they're doing the same thing that they did for the Mexicans, you know, letting those Mexicans get driver's license, but they're not even a citizen. They're doing the same thing with these Afghans and shit. And next thing you know, in about 3 years, the Small Business Administration is going to give these people a nice little chunk of money to start up a business. But when I went to go and talk to the Small Business Administration, they said that the plan for my smoke shop wasn't economically viable. But yet they got Wild Bill's smoke shops all over this area. I just think that they don't want the competition. Black family, we do need to hold our votes and hold our pockets, because we're not being represented in Washington. The Democrats and the Republicans, they're just anti-black. Overall, anti-black. Oh yeah, they let some of those, you know, vexed Africoons, Caribicoons, Jamaicans, Trinidadian bush bitches, they let them in after they got programmed. Let's just call it programmed. And they know they can't mess up now one time, because if they go before a judge and they have a felony, whatever time you have to complete that, and then and only then they put you on a flight back to your home country. Yeah, we need to hold our pockets. And I still want my goddamn 40 acres, keep the goddamn mules, but shouldn't be no property taxes. Not for FBAs, ADOS. Nah. Frankly, the Native Americans and shit got a better deal than we got. Some of them can even own casinos. Now, America is going to have a hard time. You keep thumbing your nose at a debt that needs to be paid, and you deserve everything that's about to happen to you that's going to be oh so awful. On that note, hey, y'all. Just taking it one day at a time. Oh, Nini's coming back down.